Evening and welcome to Impromptu Plain and Simple. Used to be, but now it's called Wow Words of Wisdom. We have a wonderful show today. We have people from four corners of the world: Romania, Qatar, South Africa, and the USA. We dub ourselves as four amigos, I guess. But anyway, we're going to have an interesting show today, and the show is going to be impromptu. We're going to gear our show around rhythm. Rhythm. Everyone say hi to us, our viewing audience today.
Hello, everyone.
Come on with a little bit more enthusiasm than that. Come on, Ashley from Romania. How you doing?
I'm doing all right, man. It's after 12 o'clock here.
It's
And
This is
this
all the
show
juice
is
I got.
live. I can understand how you feel. And Sagata, how you doing?
Good morning to everyone. I'm very excited for tonight's show and looking forward to learn more from the three wise men across the globe.
That's good. That's good. So, this has been a trouble, not a troublesome week, but a very exciting week. It's been very busy, and I like to talk about rhythm from a man's perspective. Talk about rhythm, and we're going to deal with rhythm from two perspectives, from a personal perspective, and from and when I say personal, I mean do we know our rhythm? Do we know what we are moving in? Do we understand what makes us move? Do we understand what motivates us? And then we're also going to talk about rhythm as far as how we deal with other people. Are is our rhythm determined by how we allow people to deal with us, or is our rhythm determined by how we deal with other people? We're going to deal with two points of view: personal relationship and an interrelationship with ourselves as it relates to rhythm. Who would like to begin this discussion today?
I nominate Pasta Singata.
Preach on, Pastor, preach.
Oh, well, it's a very quite interesting topic looking at the two aspects, personal rhythm as and personal capacity and also with dealing with people and how to move on. Well, for me, rhythm it's one of the most important things that we as people we need to adapt to because it gives us the momentum to move on and also gives a motivation to strive for a better life as a personal like personally. And for me, rhythm it's the sense of sound that always echo in my mind, in my spirit, that uh, these are the things that I need to follow, or these are the set of beliefs. It goes back to the beliefs and values when it comes to rhythm, to stick with them, because if you don't have any rhythm in your life, it's like you are an individual or a person that forward or not oriented and you in one place. But when you have them, it draws back to your foundation on what are your goals, what are your plans, and what you want to achieve in life. And then going back to the aspect of dealing with people now, it's like having this rhythm, it needs more instrumentals that collaboration with other people. And also you need to look in the fact that what are the sounds does your surrounding brings to you that is are they in harmony with your rhythm or they are off tune. So therefore, you need to channel it so that you are in a right frequency of producing the same momentum, the same flow that you are able as a collective. Because as an individual, we cannot do things alone. We also need a collaboration with people or being in a corporate atmosphere with one another so that you can achieve as a collective and also play your part as an individual and also try to achieve the purpose of your life towards the destiny and also your calling that you'll be able to operate around people.
Okay, let's get a little deeper than this. I want to break this down even deeper. When you say rhythm and you're dealing with people, do
Hmm.
you find yourself, and this is to the whole panel, do you find yourself trying to create the relationship by understanding their rhythm, or are you confident enough within your own rhythm that you don't waste your time trying to figure out their rhythm, but you're living in yours?
Okay, for me,
You-
it, it
Ashley, respond to that.
oh,
Ashley, respond to that.
okay. I think that it's very important for us as individuals to live to understand what our rhythm is, because I don't think you're able to coexist or interact with people in a productive way if you don't know what your rhythm is, right? So I think about, for example, myself as an athlete. I understand what my daily rhythm is. I understand where the rhythm of my life is, how it's going, and where I want to go. So anybody that I come into contact with, anybody that I'm interacting with, be it a friendship, be it a relationship, I'm confident within myself to know, hey, these are my boundaries. This is my routine. This is how I go about my business. And you can present that information to people, and give them the opportunity to say, hey, okay, this is somebody that I can build with. This is somebody that I can get along with. Me and you can add value to each other. Now, the point that you're making is when you start changing who you are to accommodate other people, that's when you get off rhythm. Because now I'm not being myself no more. I'm trying to be somebody who you like. I'm trying to be somebody that's going to please you. And a lot of times you can get thrown off your rhythm in that way. And then you start to see things going left, going right, and you're on their ride. But it's because you.
I'm get a little deep with this. I'm on a little bit deeper, a little bit deeper, deeper, deeper. Um, Bonzi, you at a club or you at the beach and you see this beautiful, 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 beautiful woman. I mean, she is the epitome of what your dreams are, right? You follow me so far?
Hmm.
When you go up and you build up enough nerves and you decide to go up and introduce yourself to her, are you going to introduce yourself to her in your rhythm, or are you going to be influenced by your perception of her, and your comment to her is going to be in a different way? Is it going to be in your rhythm, or is it going to be what you imagine that she will want you to say or do when you introduce yourself to her?
Yeah, I think before you can even make that decision, I think there is something that will influence me in order, like, what is it that about her that is attracting me to her. So either if it's the physical appearance or just her as a being, then the mere fact that there is an attraction means that there is sort of a rhythm or because we're sort of flowing in that we in that same frequency. If I, according to me, and what is that that attracting me to her. But the more you go and want to engage, then you are assessing where is her energy, her everything about her, then does it resonate with my energy? Then is there, when either with the conversation where we can say that we spoke, so the conversation had a flow, so we can say there is a rhythm in how we engage. So it's more than it goes with that. So I think with that rhythm, it helps sort of you to connect more, and it influences you in the decision that you will make. If, as time goes on, then you'll still find if, okay, are we still in the same rhythm? Are we still beating in the same rhythm? Do we understand one another? Then you sort of find out as you get to know more. But in that very moment, yes, I think you it does have a crucial thing that it plays. Don't know if it
Okay,
makes. Yeah.
I don't know who said it, but someone said I think it was you, Ashley, or Sitata. Said in order for you to realize your rhythm, you have to realize who you are.
Mm.
Yeah. If you don't know who you are, how are you going to be able to work towards anything? Like I said, I use myself as an example. I know that, I'm pursuing a career right now in terms of being an athlete and using that platform to do different things. So I understand what that requires of me, and I understand that that comes with certain sacrifices. Like, I can't do everything. I can't be everywhere. I can't, you know, somebody might want me to go this way, or a person might want me to live a certain way, or just things, everything. You can't, if you know what you want, you know what to block out, and you know what works for you, you know what doesn't work for you. And a lot of times, even myself, I found myself at periods in my life conforming to other people's rhythms. And Johnny, me and you go way back, and we had conversations about a lot of different things. And you always used to tell me, Ash, like, just stay in your rhythm. Like you worrying about everything. But it's because you're not just doing you. And that's, I guess that's how us young people would say it. Just do you.
Okay, we have a chef on the panel. I was told that he is a fantastic chef.
Mm-hmm.
Is that not true?
I don't know if he's a better chef or pastor.
um,
Pastor chef.
Master Chef.
Oh,
Okay.
oh
um,
wow.
New name there.
if a food critic,
Mm,
if a food critic comes into your restaurant and he looks at the menu and he places this order, and you know
mhm.
that there are certain things that he likes, but he orders your
Okay.
signature men,
Dish.
recipe, your signature plate. Would
Mhm.
you conform that plate in order to make him happy, or would you stay in your rhythm and keep the menu, the ingredients, the style of the plate, the way you're going to prepare that plate? Will his
Uh,
influence change the way you cook, or will you stay true to your recipe?
okay. Whether you're a food critic or what, when you design or create a dish and then you finalize it that you're gonna go with the dish, you have to just simply go with the flow of what you have set up. Besides that, if a person has any allergy issue that there is an ingredient that is he or she is allergic to, then you can try to change it to accommodate. But if there's no anything that deals with allergy issues or whatsoever, then you have to stick to your dish because there's a lot of efforts for you to create a dish, or especially signature dishes, because there are certain ingredients that you incorporate that are solely your own recipe. Because in the cooking industry, as a chef, we always use a recipe as a skeleton. But you, as a chef, then you have to put a flesh on it. You have to put organs so that it all correspond to one another. Each and every ingredient that you use, every protein, every vegetable that you use in that dish, it's the same and it's in harmony, and the taste and the balance is it's perfect. So therefore, for me as a chef, I cannot change it because of you're a food critic, or you're gonna give me your review. That review will lead me to get a Michelin star or a 5 star whatsoever. The dish is set, and therefore you have to stick to the dish. I
Ah,
cannot change
thank you. Thank you. Thank you for that point. You made a very, very good point. The ingredients have been created. You have created the recipe for the plate. It's there.
it. Yes.
So when it is there, and you know that that individual isn't allergic to a particular ingredient within the food, you stick by what you have created. Now,
Yes.
that's what I'm talking about with rhythm. If you are in your rhythm, regardless as to your relationship, regardless as to who you're dealing with, you will not allow that individual to change your ingredients.
Mm. Yes.
Whoever
That's
you
true.
are, however you live, however you move in life, we spend a lot of times, and I know a lot, we do this a lot. We change our ingredients about ourselves in order to accommodate others. And in changing our ingredients, we then change our rhythm. And when we change our rhythm, half the battles that we have in relationships is a result of us trying to adjust to something that we don't have to adjust because we change ourselves to accommodate others. Does that not
Hmm.
make sense? Are you
It
understanding
does make sense.
this?
Mm.
Um,
Yes.
so it's true. We have to be able to first know ourselves, and we as men, we definitely have to know who we are, because we could be influenced so many times in so many ways because there are things we want, and we make adjustments in order for us to get what we want. So with that being said, Bunji, question for you. If I threw a rock in the river, and that rock lands to the bottom, does the rock conform to the river, or does the river conform to the rock?
Um. So
Sorry
if
about that. I had a little technical difficulties.
Did you hear the question?
can you just repeat it?
Okay. We're talking about rhythm, and we all know and realize that a river has rhythm, right? Um, if I threw a rock in the river and it landed in the bottom of the river, does the river have influence on the rock, or does the rock have influence on the river?
Yeah. Quite an interesting question. I think because the river and it by its nature and being water in itself, water. One thing about water is that it it whatever obstacle that is placed in front of it, it's able to maneuver around it, able to navigate its way around. So now when when the rock has entered the water, it means that as it's entering, there is quite a flow around the when it's going at the bottom. So it means that the rock in a way can influence the water, but water by its nature will remain in itself, but whatever obstacle that is thrown at it, it's able to navigate and move around it. So I think the one person that has the influence is the person that is throwing the rock because the rock is in its nature where it's supposed to be, and you know, yeah, it's I don't know if it makes sense.
Ashley, you have any comments on that question? I know this is a kind of far out question, but I'm
It's
going somewhere with it.
it's
I think they affect each other, right? So the rock is getting in the way of a flow of stream for the river, and it's occupying that space. But at the same time, the river knows how to maneuver and go around it.
mm,
So it's not necessarily being stopped or hindered, it's just being deterred or it's being rerouted. But that doesn't take away from the fact that the rock has occupied that space in the river. So they both affect each other. But I think that's an example of two forces that don't necessarily bend to each other's will. Like the rock is going to be the rock and it's going to be where it is. But at the same time, the river is going to be the river and it's going to get where it needs to go.
Hmm. And that is a perfect example of a rock knows its place, its purpose, just as the river knows its place and its purpose.
Yeah.
And as a result of one not trying to change the other, they learn how to coexist with one another. Boy, wouldn't that be great if we understood that principle so we can apply it to our everyday lives?
mm,
Because sometimes we are thrown in a river without wanting to be. And sometimes we find ourselves trying to define on who we are. Are we the rock or are we the river? And then
Mm,
other times we try to define who we are by stipulating that I'm the river. I'm stronger than you because you have no influence on me. I'm steady moving.
mm,
And then the rock says, I'm the rock. If it wasn't for me, your current and your flow would not be as great or as it could be as a result of you flowing over me. So, why do we
Mhm.
define ourselves in relationships as the importance of who we think we are when we could be just like that river and that rock? Learn how to
agreed.
coexist.
Agreed.
Learn how to coexist. Singata, I see your heart and your mind thinking like I don't know what. Go ahead, preacher.
How to learn to coexist? Well, the scenario itself, it has both. They have forces that they operate in because the river has its own force and the rock it has its own force and also the mass that it has. So therefore, it's a matter of being when I transfer it to our daily life is that in as much as we are all in one space, but we need to understand one another and also try to be united in terms of building a relationship with one another so that no one steps in the other's boundaries and at the same time is that understanding the aspect of character as individuals because not everyone has the same character. All of us were have different characters, but we come into a space where we will coexist and cooperate to one another, and for us to be able to execute whatever task that we will agree or decide upon. Therefore, we need to understand one another that Uncle Johnny is this type of a individual. So therefore, when I'm dealing with him individually, then I know how to deal with Uncle Johnny. Same applies with Ashley and Banzi. So that when we are all together in one space, we coexist so that no one will interfere in one's space because most people they take people around them for granted and not give them the respect they deserve. And as much as the respect, you have to earn it, but just give the individual a benefit of the doubt that you deserve to be respected, so that we are able to work in harmony between all of us in one space.
Bunzi, what are your thoughts?
Yeah. In terms of sorry, can you just repeat that question? I've got so many things that I'm busy doing.
Ashley, enlighten him.
Um, I think we were still talking about applying the rock and the river theory to our personal lives. Um, and Johnny was just letting Singata kind of expand on, I guess, how it can transfer to our personal lives.
Mm,
Um, what would implementing that look like? How would that be beneficial? How do you think that? I guess
yeah.
you know,
Okay.
yeah.
Thanks, man. Yeah. No, I think. um,
No worries.
I think, like you said, with the rock and the river, that because the rock knows itself and it knows its identity, no matter if it's placed in a different environment, it is able to still remain itself. It's not easily moved by a certain change of environments, and being placed in the river is an indication that you have been shifted from one point to the next. So we find that sometimes in our lives, um, when things happen around us or when things happen to us, we sort of conform to the happening that is around us, and or we find that now I cannot be happy up until I can change my current environment. So now that I'm in this new environment that I'm not comfortable in and not used to, I'll I can't be happy. I can't move. And one thing that influences that is the fact that we think that we are because of our environment, and it's not and it's not being influenced by understanding who we are and knowing the character of and your own personal nature. So once you understand your nature and you know how you are, and in your own nature this is how you are, then whatever
Mhm.
environment, whatever happen, whatever tragedy happens to you, it still does not, you are moved but you are not shake, like your core, your root is not shaken because you still know who you are. So even if you lose your home, uh I remember a story where they asked, and I forgot who the this certain rich man, they asked him, when did he know that he was a millionaire? And he said that he knew he was a millionaire when he was still lying on the bench, like the benches in New York in Central Park. So he was still a homeless man, but him being in that state of being homeless did not change the fact that he knew that he was already a millionaire, and therefore his environment had to change, and his environment from within himself changed to meet this person that he was already inside, that he already knew. So that's how I'd interpret it. That's how we could apply it in our own lives, where we are not conformed by our, as the Bible says, we are not from the world. So we are, it means that we influence our own world rather than being influenced by change in the environment that we find ourselves placed in.
Ooh, that's very deep. So what I'm hearing you say is attitude. Attitude has a lot to do
Yeah,
with our success.
yeah.
Um, I'm gonna take this a little bit deeper. Can any of you expound on a relationship that you've had in the past? A relationship that you found to be difficult, you found to be hard, and now that you're not in that type of relationship, not in that relationship anymore, where did you learn from it? And what did you gain from it?
Hmm.
Hello? I can hear you
Can
thinking,
you,
but I can't see your lips moving.
It's quite a deep
Uncle
question.
Johnny, can you, it is deep. Can you further try to break it down?
Okay, you was with someone, y'all had problems and issues, y'all were together for a while, and the breakup was hell. It didn't make any sense, and you had to work your way out of it. So, what did you learn from it, and what did you gain? What did you gain as a result of it?
I can go first on that one.
All right, go ahead.
Um, I think, and I'll speak from a much younger perspective. I think in a young man's life, you go through a period of trial and error, right? And you're still trying to figure out what it is you want and what that looks like in another person, probably. Um, I think that this can also be tied back to living in your rhythm. A lot of times, you may want something for yourself, but that doesn't necessarily mean the other person wants that or the other person aligns with your dreams. And I think an issue that I've personally experienced is sometimes, I find myself, I've found myself in situations where, you know, you have to be strong enough to separate what you feel from what you know, right? So, because feelings is a strong thing. You always Our feelings sometimes get the best of us, but if you know deep down that these are the facts and this is what it is, um, sometimes it's difficult to trust that and go with that decision because of how you feel, and that can be problematic because if if at any point you stay in a situation longer than you're supposed to, things won't ever get better. It starts to deteriorate because your your season in that person's life, that person's season in your life is over, but you're prolonging it. And so I think for me, I've had to learn to go with the rhythm, live in my rhythm, go understand that, I'm the river in that situation. That relationship might be the rock. So I need to learn how to maneuver around that and not allow that to stop the flow of my life, which is the river.
Whoa.
Yes, preacher.
Nah, that's you.
Yes, preacher. Preacher Eshu.
Singata.
Ah, okay. Oh, well, it's hey, Uncle Johnny, this question is very deep, and I'm trying to get some words out. My viewpoint is that if you're in a relationship where at start it had a good foundation, and as the time goes by, the person that you are in this relationship with already have understood who you are, and also you have understood, and sometimes that your partner will overstep you and try when they are comfortable around you, and they have seen how you react on certain issues, and also how they respond to certain issues or circumstances that will face in this relationship. And sometimes it goes further that one will belittle you because you are more of a gentler person, or you don't want to like challenging the status quo and everything. You're just a calm person. then one will take that advantage and misuse it, and not giving you the respect that you deserve as a partner, or also as a human being. Um, as a human being. And then now, when it has gone to that far, it now starts to be toxic. And when toxicity comes in, it's like a disease, or a virus that will affect your immune system. So therefore, your immune system will naturally will pick it up that the relationship is no more. There's nothing that you can hold on in this relationship. So therefore, that instinct or that notification or light bulb that the relationship is no more a relationship, it has turned to a disease. Then you have to move out of that relationship. Whether it will leave scars, but it's for your well being as an individual, as a person, because it will affect you psychologically, it will affect your emotions. And once it has affected or distorted your psyche and also your emotions, therefore you won't be able to relate to other people, whether that it was just a detour for you to be in this relationship. But when you find the right person, you won't be able to relate to, because you will always keep on thinking about the past relationships that you coming from, or there is no healing that, like, after this relationship that has been toxic, you broke up with the individual, then you did not have time just to heal. You just quickly moved on, or there was another option that came by, and then you grabbed that option. But when you move on, you will always have that reflection of the previous one, of which that will have an impact on the current relationship that you are trying to establish with the next. So the most important thing is that when you see signs that the relationship is no more a relationship, then you have to move on.
Okay, Banji, you have any comments on that?
Yeah, I think for me it's understanding. I think first of all, one thing I would have learned from that relationship would be, or mistakes from that would be communication. But before you even get to that, since we're talking about rhythm, if you find that the person that you are with, you are no longer vibrating in the same rhythm, then that's what would probably cause the problems in the relationship, because now one is pulling the other way and you're pulling the other way. So then there's friction. You're no longer in the same. You're no longer in harmony. So I would say one, either because there is no common purpose, uh, your purpose and their purpose no longer aligns, and therefore in your next relationship you'd have to look at who do the person that you are with, is there a common purpose? So because it's that common purpose that will determine the rhythm that you are moving in the same direction. So I think to answer your question, that's what I would have, oh, that's the lesson that you I would have learned from my previous relationships, where you find that we are no longer, if we're no longer in the same, we don't see things the same way. The purpose has changed, or your purpose, you no longer, your purpose is the opposite to where I'm going. So goes back to my identity and my ending, knowing that this is what I want. You don't just enter into a relationship not knowing what you want, not knowing where you're going, or where's the common purpose for this relationship. Is there, are we just doing it to just meet and have fun, or we are going somewhere? And are we going in the same direction, or are we just wasting time?
You know what? I think I'm the youngest of all of you guys. No, I'm the oldest. I keep forgetting. You know what I've learned? Matthew 6 and 33 says, "Seek ye first And in your seeking, your life experiences are a reflection of what you are seeking. Hear me out. Your the reflection of your life is evidence of what you are seeking. And in your journey in life, oftentimes we do not have any control over where our rhythm would take us. It's just like a river. We're flowing down the river. The river does not know what will fall into it or what will grow as a result of it or what will be destroyed because of its current, its strength. It just flows. It does what it does. And I have found that life is the same way. Um, we're going to be in life, you're going to be confronted with all sorts of things, all kinds of people, all types of relationships, be it financial, personal, even in your religious walk. No, I won't say religious. I say your spiritual walk. Every aspect is going to present you with different situations, and within those situations, where you are sure of yourself and you know what you are seeking, what that other person may or may not do, or whatever you find the situation you find yourself in doesn't matter.
Mm,
And when I say it doesn't matter, when you get to the point where you feel like you're having a problem on your job or you're having a problem with the personal relationship, and that personal relationship is getting you to the extent or to the point where it's causing you agony and causing you to be upset, well, then is it really that person that's causing the issue, or is it you not knowing who you are that's causing the issue?
mm,
Is it you causing the issue, or is it that person causing the issue? See, a lot of times we get live confused, even in our churches. I mean, it's a situation where why are you going to church? I mean, in any relationship you have, your rhythm is not determined by what people do to you. Your rhythm is determined by what you are seeking and how you deal with what is presented to you.
mm,
Actually, you play football. You're on a you can get all the stats of the people you are playing, and you can know how good they are. But it's what it's going to boil down to when you're on that football field and you see that they are charging you because you're the quarterback. The statistics are not going, it can help you, but at the moment, at the time you're on that field, at the time that ball is getting hyped to you, you make instant decisions not based on what you think they're going to do to you. You're going to make those decisions based on your ability and what you assess the situation to be.
Yeah.
It's your assessment. Sincata, the same way with you. When you're cooking and you're preparing food, you don't prepare your food based on the individual that you are preparing it for. You are preparing the food based on your ability, based on what you have learned, based on what has gotten you where you once was to where you are now, so you can be where you want to be. And all that is based
mm,
on not what that individual may do to you. It's based on you knowing yourself. It's based on you having the confidence within yourself, knowing that sometimes you may be the rock in the bottom of the river, or you may be the river flowing over the rock. And the position that you hold in that scenario is not based on what life does to you. It's based on what you choose in the situation because you're going to do what you need to do in order to gain the higher ground of the situation. Sometimes it's beneficial for you to be the rock and let it flow over you, and sometimes it's beneficial for you to be the river and you flow over the rock.
yeah.
That
Yeah,
makes
I think that's a lovely bow to tie everything. I think what you just said is kind of because I was about to ask you, you know, because I know we have a couple of minutes left, but I was about to ask you how would you summarize everything, but what you just said is kind of did that. Like, I think the moral of the story is you have to know when to do what. You have to know when it's when what season you're in your life where you are the rock. Because if it's a season in your life where you're supposed to be the rock, but you're trying to be the river, it's not going to go well. Or if it's a season in your life where you're supposed to be the river and you're trying to be the rock, it's always going to be issues. So I think
Mm.
what you just said kind of answered the question I was about to ask anyway. Like, how would you tie it all together?
Any other comments?
I think you just what's the word now? You sign, seal, and deliver it without asking, without even knowing.
But I would like to share this one thing with you as well. Um, there is no negative relationship, and I don't know which one of you mentioned about attitude. Attitude is the key to this whole thing. Um, I remember my first tricycle, and I rode the tricycle, and when I was old enough and mature enough, my parents moved me from the tricycle to a bicycle with training wheels. And then they took the training wheels off. And then from the bicycle to the 10 speed, from a 10 speed to a motorbike, and from a motorbike to a car. Now, all those transitions, I did not dislike the tricycle because it enabled me to move from one thing to another. And I do not dislike any relationships that I've had because I have grown from those relationships. I have learned from those relationships. And I know the difference between a tricycle and a bicycle and a car. And Bunzi,
Yeah,
what is the importance of knowing where you came from so you could know where you are going?
yeah. I think just like a GPS, there's no way you can go know where to go if you don't know where you are. Because in order for it to determine the route, it wants to know where you are. So it's very important, therefore, to know. Once you know where you are, then it's easy then to look and determine and see where you're going. So it's very important. I don't know if it makes sense.
Yeah, it made a little sense.
Mm.
Makes sense. Sagata, and then Ashley, and then I'll close it up with a few remarks.
Okay. Uh, I just want to add from what Bansi said is that you need to find your ground first and also what you are seeking for in life. And in order for you to determine your end destination or your destiny. And along the route, there will be obstacles, and also you need to be aware on how would you face them and how would you react on those obstacles in as much as you may not know the journey, whether it's gonna take you off road or it's still gonna give you a detour depending on the traffic flow in that particular route or in that journey. Because like in life, as Ashley said, that you need to understand the season that you are in and what are the lessons behind that season in order for you to move to the next. Because your destination, what I've learned and what God has shown me is that He will give you the destiny, but He won't show you the journey towards the destination. So therefore, by the time you're going through or you're going towards your destiny, there will be obstacles where you'll be in a season of being in the wilderness, you are in a season of being in the mountaintop, you'll be in a season in a valley. And in those seasons, you need to understand how would you be able to 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 navigate through, and how would you be able to face the adversities that you will face during that journey towards that destiny, because the destiny is, you have already been shown what is the destiny, but now between from your starting point towards your destiny, which is your final point, how then are you be able to face challenges? How would you be able to resolve adversities? How would you react on certain situations? That's then will be able, that will need the power and the enlightenment of the Holy Spirit that will guide us through the journey.
Very well said. Ashley.
Yeah, I think Pasta and Banzi covered it all. I don't have any further comments. I think you guys pretty much summed up everything I would say as well.
Okay, we will end with this note. I received a lot of comments and phone calls and text messages and emails, and there is a general consensus. Johnny, I thought you were a preacher. You said you were ordained for since 1997, and these shows that you have been viewing, I haven't heard you preach. Yes, you have. Give me 2 minutes and I'm going to explain myself to you. When Jesus was on his journey, every situation that he dealt with a particular situation that he was confronted with. Every situation, there was a situation and there was a confrontation. The confrontation was the need for that individual to get some relief and the desire for Jesus to give it to them. As a result, we are able to see now by reading his scriptures the evidence of what Jesus did. Moses, Jonah, Abraham and Sarah, all these people, there were situations that happened. And as those situations happened, either God or Jesus confronted that particular situation and gave them a solution. Here we are in 2022. And I have discovered and I have found out that my purpose as being a man of God is to show people the evidence of who God is by showing people how they can apply who God is and who Jesus is to their particular situation. We have young people that are going through a whole lot of changes. We have older people who are being disenchanted with going to church because oftentimes a lot of people go to church to feel good, but not to be good.
Mm,
They go to church to hear the word and how it is being stated, but instead of utilizing the word into how it can be applied to their situation. Same way with rhythm. God has a rhythm. Jesus got his rhythm from God. The disciples got their rhythm from Jesus. And Jesus wants us to get our rhythm from the word and to be able to apply what he has given us through Acts 1 and 8, where he says, I give you the power through the Holy Spirit. And it is all a result of us applying what God has given us to our particular situation. We can hear the story all day long. We can hear he died and rose 3 days later. We can hear all this stuff all day long. We can hear about what Moses did, part of the Red Sea. We can hear all this stuff. But now, how do those stories, how do they apply to what I'm going through? How do I apply when I have a situation where I was going with this particular person and we broke up and we're going through all these changes and how do I apply this to me? And I want to leave you with this note. In Acts 1 and 8, God says, I give you the power through the Holy Spirit. Matthew 6 and 33 says, seek ye first. So in order for you to receive the power, you have to know what you're seeking. And God wants us to seek him in spite of whatever personal situations we're going through, in spite of us being the rock in the bottom of the river or the river flowing over the rock. That's besides the point. The only thing God wants us to do is to understand who he is and how we can use him to get where we want to be. All that other stuff is trivial. Relationships, getting mad, all that other stuff is trivial. Learn and know yourself, live in your rhythm, and everything will take care of itself.